They say family is everything. What happens when family becomes the very thing that tears you apart? I was raised in a home where comfort wasn't a dream but a reality. My parents worked hard, my siblings excelled, and we were respected in the community. On the surface, we looked like the perfect family except for one shadow that clung to us. My older brother, Daniel. Daniel was the black sheep. While we followed the rules, he broke them. While we tried to honor our parents, he dragged our name through the mud. He gambled, stole, and got involved with people you wouldn't even dare to look in the eye. At first, we thought it was just a rebellious phase. But soon the phase became a cycle of destruction. I'll never forget the night police cars pulled up in front of our house, red and blue lights bleeding through our living room curtains. They were looking for Daniel. My father's hands trembled as he tried to convince them that his son wasn't capable of the crimes they listed: theft, extortion, assault. But deep inside, we all knew Daniel was capable of much worse. From then on, our lives became a series of whispered rumors and shameful stares. At school, I was no longer the smart one, but the brother of that criminal. At work, people avoided me as if Daniel's sins were contagious. My mother cried herself to sleep. My father aged years in just months, and yet, despite everything, Daniel always came back. Every time he was in trouble, he turned to us. And every time my parents opened the door, they said, "He's family. We can't turn our back on him." But I felt the weight of a different truth pressing on me. Each time we covered for him, each time we gave him money, each time we pretended he wasn't guilty, it was like choosing him over the rest of us. That's the question that's been eating me alive. Do you stand by the family you were born into, even when they're the reason your world is falling apart? Or do you choose what's right, even if it means betraying your own blood? One night, the doorbell rang. My heart already knew who it was before I opened the door. There he was, my brother Daniel, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His eyes were red-rimmed, his clothes rumpled, but it wasn't his appearance that shocked me. It was the sight of two men behind him, their faces hard, their eyes cold. "I need your help," Daniel said, his voice barely a whisper. "These guys, they're after me. They want me to pay what I owe. But I don't have the money. Please, you have to help me." My gut reaction was to slam the door in his face. This was my breaking point. Yet when I looked back, those two men were pushing their way inside. They sneered at me, their eyes glinting with malice. Before I could react, Daniel stepped in front of me, his body taking the full force of their anger. "Get out," I hissed, shoving Daniel aside. "I don't care if they hurt you." For a moment, Daniel's eyes widened in surprise. Then they hardened with resolve. "You don't have to do this," he said, his voice low. And in that moment, I knew he was right. I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to choose my brother over my own safety. I didn't have to betray myself. Yet when I looked into his eyes, I saw not just defiance, but fear. A fear that mirrored my own. In that split second, I made my choice. As I opened the door wider, I forced a smile, hoping it looked convincing. "Can I help you?" I asked, trying to sound polite. "Just a minute, please." I turned to Daniel. "Stay here." He nodded, his eyes questioning, and I closed the door. Now, with a deep breath, I turned back to the men. "What can I do for you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Where's Daniel?" one of them asked, his eyes scanning the room. "Who's Daniel?" I replied, hoping my innocence sounded genuine. "Don't play games with us," the man snapped. "We know he's here. Hand him over, and this ends peacefully." "I don't know any Daniel," I insisted, backing away slowly. "If you want to search, go ahead." The man hesitated, then nodded to his companion, who began to rummage through the drawers. The other man moved closer to me, his gaze intense. "You sure you haven't seen him?" "Positive," I said, keeping my eyes locked on his. He studied me for a moment, then shrugged and turned away. Moments later, they left without finding Daniel. As soon as the door clicked shut, I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. I found Daniel hiding in the pantry, his face pale. "What did you tell them?" he whispered. "I told them I didn't know you," I replied, meeting his gaze. "Why didn't you tell them?" he asked, his voice cracking. "Because I don't have to protect you anymore," I said, my voice firm. It's your choice now. Either get out of here and start being honest with everyone, or stay and face the consequences. He stared at me, his eyes filled with something I couldn't decipher. Then he nodded slowly, his shoulders slumping. Okay, he whispered. I'm sorry. And with that, he slipped out the back door, leaving me alone in the kitchen. Now weeks have passed since then. Daniel is gone, but his presence still lingers. The guilt of my choice continues to gnaw at me. Did I do the right thing? Will I ever see my brother again? And if so, will he ever forgive me? Every night I lie awake wondering if I made the right choice. The truth is, sometimes family isn't about blood, it's about love, support, and honesty. Sometimes the hardest thing you can do is choose yourself. Thank you for watching.